Hello, dearest Libra, and welcome to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, where every message is whispered through divine timing. This is not just a horoscope. It's a sacred transmission for those who are ready to step into 7 years of cosmic transformation, beginning May 12th. Let me ask you something. What if today was the moment the universe finally whispered, "It's your time now"? You didn't click on this video by accident. Whether you're here out of curiosity, hope, or maybe even exhaustion from trying to hold everything together, your soul knew exactly when to arrive. That's why you're here. And the timing? It's perfect. Starting May 12, 2025, Libra enters a 7-year portal of soul-level realignment. This isn't just luck. This is a divine course correction. The planets are speaking to you, loud and clear. Mercury, Venus, and the air signs are weaving a tapestry of new possibilities around your energy. And no, this isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to the version of you that never needed to shrink, never needed to please, never needed to compromise your truth for someone else's peace. You've always been the sign of balance, harmony, and beauty, but now the universe is asking you to become the architect of your own justice. Not just for others, but finally, for yourself. I invite you to stay with me until the very end of this reading, because what we're about to uncover isn't just a prediction, it's a cosmic invitation. A path. A pattern. A remembering. And before we go further, let me take a moment to offer something that matters deeply to me. Gratitude. Thank you for being here, truly. Every like, every comment, every moment of your time is what fuels this sacred space. Zodiac Whisper Tarot isn't just a channel. It's a growing circle of awakening souls, and by being here, you're already part of it. Your energy matters. And your support, in ways you might not even realize, allows us to continue bringing these soul-aligned messages to those who need them most. Now, my beautiful Libras. You didn't come here just for comfort. You came for truth. For clarity. For divine confirmation that the next chapter of your life won't be like the last. So let me ask you this. What energy do you feel whispering to you right now? What number shows up in your heart? Go ahead, drop that angel number in the comments below. That's the universe's way of showing you that you're exactly where you're meant to be. Take a deep breath with me. Because what we're about to explore might just be the turning point you've prayed for, even if you didn't know you were praying. Are you ready to remember who you truly are? Then let's begin. Sometimes the moment we stop trying to fix everything for everyone else is exactly when the healing begins for ourselves. For Libra, this marks the very essence of the transition we're stepping into now. You've spent so much of your life measuring harmony, keeping the scales from tipping too far in either direction. And while that grace has been one of your greatest gifts, it's also often kept you from honoring your own weight in the balance. This part of your 7-year journey asks something new of you. It asks you to stop seeking approval and begin seeking alignment. In astrology, Libra is ruled by Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and values. But Venus is not just about charm and attraction, it's also about self-worth. When Mercury now begins its dialogue with other grounded and reflective energies in the sky, you're being invited to redefine what worth means to you. Not just how others see your value, but how you hold space for your own truth, even when no one else is watching. This moment in time offers a rare opportunity to make peace with parts of yourself that you've long tucked away in order to be the nice one, the diplomatic one, the one who never disrupts the room. And yet, balance, true balance, is not about being still. It's about movement. It's about understanding that giving and receiving are meant to flow both ways. It's about knowing that your silence, when rooted in fear, is not peace. Libra, you're entering a season that doesn't ask you to shout louder, but to speak clearer. To say what you mean without softening the edges to make others more comfortable. To stop shrinking yourself so others don't feel small in your light. This is not rebellion. It's restoration. You might notice during this time that your patience has less room for pretense. The masks others wear may become more obvious. And rather than forcing yourself to tolerate what feels wrong, you begin to simply step away. That's not failure. That's wisdom. That's growth. And sometimes, it's also grace. After all, even the most loving hearts must learn where to stop pouring so they don't run dry. There's a quiet lesson here that echoes the wisdom passed down for generations. You're not here to save others at the cost of losing yourself. You were not made to dim just to keep peace in a room full of unrest. In fact, the peace you bring to the world is only as real as the peace you allow within. And that kind of peace doesn't come from perfection. It comes from choosing what feels honest, even when it's uncomfortable. You don't need to fix what was never yours to carry. And you don't need to keep trying to prove your kindness by sacrificing your clarity. There is a gentle strength in choosing stillness when chaos calls your name, and a powerful kind of love in choosing boundaries when your heart wants to give endlessly. So, if you find yourself redefining what connection looks like, if you start to say, no, not out of resentment, but out of respect, know that this is part of your spiritual maturity. It's part of your alignment. And it's exactly what this cosmic chapter is about, not just finding balance, but becoming it, from the inside out. Stay close, Libra. What's coming next will ask even more of your truth, but it will also reward it. There comes a time when the way we relate to money begins to mirror the way we relate to ourselves. For Libra, that time begins now. As Mercury shifts into Taurus on May 26th, the cosmic message becomes clear. Your relationship with material wealth is no longer just about survival, comfort, or obligation. It's about self-respect. About realizing that what you allow, financially, reflects what you believe you're worthy of receiving. And what you give, whether in time, resources, or emotional energy, should come from overflow, not emptiness. In astrology, Taurus is ruled by Venus, just like you. But while Libra often expresses Venus through harmony in relationships, Taurus brings that Venusian energy back home, into the body, the bank account, and the tangible world. It reminds you that beauty isn't just a concept, it's a lived experience. And abundance isn't just a number, it's a feeling of stability, presence, and enoughness. When Mercury meets this energy, you're called to make grounded, intentional decisions, not only about where your money goes, but also about who has access to your generosity. This is a lesson in discernment. You're learning the quiet art of separating love from obligation, support from depletion. It's okay to say no. It's okay to delay a loan. It's okay to pause before picking up the check, especially when you're expected to, not appreciated for it. And more than okay, it's wise to ask yourself, Is this giving rooted in love, or in fear of losing peace? Some of us grew up believing that giving makes us good and that wanting more makes us selfish. But that's not the full picture. Just as a tree must root deeply to grow tall, you must nourish your own financial roots before extending your shade to others. A healthy boundary is not a wall, it's a door you choose to open when you feel safe, not when you feel guilt. There's a gentle reminder here, one echoed in ancient wisdom: you are a steward, not a servant. What you have, money, time, attention, is not meant to be drained to prove you're worthy. It's meant to be cultivated and shared wisely, with those who honor the energy behind it. And even more importantly, it's meant to reflect the respect you hold for yourself. This season is not asking you to become cold or closed. It's asking you to become conscious. Conscious of how much energy it takes to always be the provider, the balancer, the one who holds everything together. Conscious of the fact that reciprocity is a form of respect. And that saying, "not right now," doesn't mean you love less. It means you've learned to love wisely. Perhaps now is the time to revisit your financial habits with fresh eyes. Not from a place of restriction, but from a place of reverence. Start that savings fund you've always postponed. Plant those metaphorical seeds, whether through a course, a skill, or even simply journaling your goals. And if you're looking for symbols to carry with you during this time, lean into olive green, soft beige, and warm copper tones, colors that ground your energy and remind you that wealth isn't loud. It's quiet, steady, and earned through respect, not rush. So if you're feeling that nudge to reclaim your financial autonomy, trust it. You're not being selfish. You're remembering that true abundance doesn't come from how much you give, it comes from how honestly you choose to give, and how deeply you believe you're worthy of receiving. It's often said that words shape worlds, and for Libra, this season is about reclaiming the world your voice was always meant to build. As Mercury enters Gemini, the air becomes charged with movement, ideas, and new patterns of connection. There's a quickening here, not in speed alone, but in clarity. You're no longer just absorbing the noise of the world around you, you're beginning to filter it, refine it, and choose consciously what to echo back into the universe. Gemini energy encourages exchange, but not all communication is equal. What you're stepping into now is not about speaking more, it's about speaking with precision, with elegance, and with impact. This is where your natural grace as a Libra becomes your greatest gift. You don't speak just to fill space. You speak to create space, space for insight, reflection, peace, and understanding. And that is powerful. The High Priestess appearing in this energetic shift is no coincidence. She reminds you that the greatest influence often comes from inner knowing, not outer volume. You're not here to shout to be heard. You're here to stand so rooted in your wisdom that when you do speak, it echoes far beyond the moment. Your quiet confidence, your balanced way of seeing the many sides of a story, that's not weakness. That's mastery. There's a deeper purpose unfolding here. Your ideas matter. Your truth matters. And even more than that, how you choose to share them will shape how others learn to receive truth in their own lives. Whether you're creating content, holding conversations, mentoring, or writing, your words carry weight. They carry grace. And that grace is needed now more than ever in a world starved for sincerity. This chapter is not just about external recognition. It's about inner alignment. You'll find that the more you express what you truly mean, without trying to please, impress, or avoid discomfort, the more magnetic your presence becomes. That's the irony, isn't it? The more you stop chasing validation, the more it seems to find you. Because clarity is attractive. And honesty, delivered with kindness, is unforgettable. At the same time, it's wise to protect the space from which your voice emerges. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every headline requires your emotional energy. And not every platform needs your presence all the time. Creating room for silence is just as essential as creating room for expression. Rest is not withdrawal. It's how you reset your frequency so your message can stay clean and aligned. Here's a gentle suggestion: unplug for just 1 hour a day. No scrolling, no responding, just silence. Let your mind return to itself. In that stillness, listen. You might be surprised what your own heart has been trying to say, waiting for the noise to settle. Write it down. Name it. Then ask yourself, if you could pass along just 3 messages to the world right now, what would they be? Let this be the moment you stop waiting for the perfect time, the perfect audience, or the perfect reaction. You were not made to withhold your wisdom until someone else makes room for it. You were made to hold space with the energy of someone who knows their voice was designed to bring light, not just to conversations, but to lives. And if doubt arises, remember, you don't have to convince everyone. You only have to be clear with yourself. The rest will follow. As you begin to step into this new version of influence, let your words flow from truth, not trend. From alignment, not anxiety. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more Libras who remember their voice is not decoration, it's direction. And just when your voice begins to find its rhythm in truth, the heart begins to speak louder too, not through noise, but through longing. As Mercury enters Cancer near the end of June, a tender shift begins to unfold within you. The sharp clarity of thought gives way to softer questions. What do I truly need to feel safe with someone? Who has ever really seen me, and stayed? This isn't about romance in the superficial sense. This is about love that allows you to exhale. The kind of love where you no longer have to earn your place, where you don't have to constantly prove you're worth staying for. Cancer, ruled by the moon, speaks the language of memory and emotional truth. And during this transit, it nudges you to reconnect with the pieces of your past that shaped how you love, and how you let yourself be loved. Perhaps you've been the one who always held space for others, who listened even when you needed someone to ask how you were doing. Or maybe you've been the one who wore a smile because honesty felt too risky. But now, this chapter doesn't ask for more performance. It asks for permission, to feel, to receive, and to rest in relationships that don't demand you abandon yourself in order to be chosen. The Two of Cups appears as a gentle mirror, reminding you that the love you give so freely is meant to return to you, not because you demand it, but because it naturally finds its way back to those who give from the soul. The right connection won't punish your vulnerability, it will honor it. The right person will not flinch at your truth, they will lean closer. And the right partnership, romantic, platonic, or otherwise, will not ask you to be less. It will reflect more of who you already are. There is a sacred kind of healing that happens when we finally realize love isn't meant to feel like a performance. You don't have to earn being seen. You don't have to audition for someone's affection. And the beautiful paradox is, the moment you stop performing is often the moment real love begins. Because the people meant for you, they are not drawn to your masks. They are drawn to your essence. In a more grounded sense, this is also a time to reflect on emotional reciprocity. Are you pouring into people who are only holding cups, not filling them back? Are you afraid to ask for what you need, even when your heart feels empty? Giving is a beautiful trait, but receiving is what keeps love sustainable. And sometimes, the kindest thing you can do, for yourself and others, is to pause, and allow space for what's real. Take this time to do something quietly profound. Write a letter to your younger self. Not to judge, not to regret, but to say, I see you. You did your best. And it's okay to rest now. Then write a note to someone you love today, not to get something in return, but to give love without performance, without expectation. Just presence. Just truth. You deserve to be in spaces where you're loved, not for how well you play a role, but for how effortlessly you are yourself. This part of the journey is not about seeking more love. It's about allowing the love that's already seeking you to reach a heart no longer guarded by fear. When you let go of the need to be perfect to be loved, you make room for the kind of love that's perfect for you. As the months unfold and Mercury begins its journey through Leo, Virgo, and eventually Libra, you may start to feel a subtle but undeniable pull inward. Not inward in isolation, but in intention. After the heart has spoken its truth and old narratives of love begin to dissolve, something new begins to take root, a relationship not with another, but with the reflection you see in the mirror each morning. This isn't about vanity or chasing perfection. It's about reconnecting with the part of you that has quietly longed to be seen, not for how well you perform, but for how deeply you feel, how beautifully you persist, how naturally you shine when no one is looking. Mercury's passage through these three signs is like a sacred re-education. In Leo, it stirs your courage to express yourself freely and boldly. In Virgo, it fine-tunes your awareness of detail and invites you to treat yourself with consistency and devotion. And in Libra, your own sign, it brings everything home, to the place within you that remembers. Balance begins with how you treat yourself, not just how you treat others. This is a rebirth not of the body alone, but of self-image, self-nurture, and self-respect. The Empress, appearing as the guiding energy here, holds a special kind of wisdom. She doesn't demand attention. She attracts it effortlessly through grace, softness, and sovereignty. Her beauty is not defined by trend or comparison. It radiates from comfort in her own skin, trust in her own rhythm, and care for her sacred space. This card reminds you that your glow doesn't come from how others see you. It comes from how you tend to your light when no one else is around. In this season of becoming, the way you show up for yourself speaks louder than anything you post or present. Maybe it's as simple as rearranging a corner of your room to feel more calm. Maybe it's taking 20 uninterrupted minutes each day to move, stretch, breathe, or even sit still without explanation. Or maybe it's standing before your own reflection and saying gently, I am enough, right now, in this form. Because you are. And you always have been. When we take time to care for ourselves intentionally, not as a luxury, but as a declaration, We send a signal to the world that we're ready to be met at the level we treat ourselves. The world often mirrors what we believe we deserve. So when you clothe yourself in colors that feel like comfort, soft rose, cream, pale green, you're not just choosing a palette. You're choosing an energy. One that says, I am gentle, but I am grounded. I am open, but I am whole. I am not here to impress. I'm here to inhabit the life that belongs to me. And perhaps what matters most now is remembering this. Your worth is not earned. It's remembered. And every time you make space to nourish, rest, and express yourself authentically, you are participating in that remembering. You are honoring the quiet truth that you do not have to become someone else to be lovable, valuable, or powerful. The gift of this chapter is not in finally becoming beautiful, it's in finally realizing you always were. And if you've made it this far, dear Libra, then perhaps you've already felt it, that subtle shift in your energy, that quiet knowing inside you that says, something is changing, and this time, it begins with me. You see, harmony isn't something you chase. It's something you become, the moment you choose to live in alignment with what's real, not what's easy. And if there's one thing this entire journey is teaching you, it's that peace is not the absence of noise, but the presence of truth, spoken gently, held bravely. You don't need anyone's permission to shine. You don't need a flawless past to start anew. What you need is the willingness to show up, fully, honestly, and consistently, for yourself. That's how real beauty forms. That's how real balance is restored. So I invite you now to ask yourself, where in my life have I been quiet just to keep the peace? And what would it feel like to finally speak from the heart, not to argue, but to free myself? The power you hold is not in pleasing everyone. It's in becoming someone you respect, someone who shows up each day a little more honest, a little more whole. So take the lessons from this reading not as distant predictions, but as gentle invitations. Redesign your space to feel more like home. Honor your money as a reflection of your self-worth. Use your voice to express, not to defend. Give your love without performing. And most of all, see yourself the way your soul has always seen you, worthy, radiant, enough. Now I'd love to hear from you. What part of today's message resonated the most deeply with you? Was it the shift in how you view your own value? The quiet revolution in how you communicate? Or maybe the realization that you don't have to shrink to be loved? Whatever spoke to you, share it below. Or simply comment the angel number that's been showing up around you lately, because yes, that number is a sign, and yes, this moment is one of confirmation. And if this message brought you even a moment of clarity, peace, or hope, I ask you, gently, to like this video and subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Your presence here isn't just support for the channel, it's fuel for a wider ripple of awakening, a reminder that you're not walking this path alone. You are seen. You are supported. And you are stronger than you know. So, Libra, go forward now, not in search of harmony, but as the harmony. Radiate it. Live it. Choose it, moment by moment. Because the life you're stepping into, it doesn't ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be real. And real, my dear, is more than enough.